All right, good afternoon to everyone that's on the phone lines, everybody that's on, all of the Facebook and Zoom and everybody. So I'm just super happy that I got the technology figured out. Last time was kind of a mess, but got it figured out, and we're going to rock and roll. We're going to get right into it today. I have an exciting subject that I want to share with you. It's a program that I created a long time ago. It's called Shift Your Life, Leadership, and Legacy. And today we're going to be talking about leadership and how to shift that. And it's the 5 actions of a serving leader. So we're going to be talking about what it looks like to be a serving leader. A long time ago when the term serving leader came out, I was thinking, oh, this is probably just a good way to package leadership training, especially to Christians, because they talk about Christ was a serving leader and he served well, and that's all true. But I had this image of a serving leader as one that was kind of weak and allowed the prisoners to run the camp. That is not what a serving leader does, and I'm going to explain that to the point of understanding in this talk, because I want every single one of you to learn what it means to become a serving leader. So just kind of to let me tee it up for you, does a serving leader serve you well if they allow you to be mediocre in your company? If you allow your people to be half-hearted or mediocre or to only give 80%, does it serve you well as a leader to allow that? No. A serving leader holds his people accountable to the mission, the vision, and the purpose. And I'll make that very clear in the topic here today. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much. Facebook, please share this video. And people that are calling in, please spread the word. It's every Tuesday, 2:00. Unless I'm traveling, and I usually let you know if I won't be able to make it a week in advance. But thank you for being here. I really appreciate you being here and sharing and helping out with this as well. So as more and more people come on, you'll hear a dinging noise. That's me letting people on as they come in through the phone lines. So thank you for that. If you want to schedule a free strategy call with me, call this number that you see on the screen right now. I'll repeat it for people on the phone: 813-580-8920, 813-580-8920. And my assistant Soraya will schedule the call, ask you a few questions, get to know your company in a little bit so that I can better serve you, and in a 30-minute free session with me, where I want to solve your biggest problem, whatever that is. And so I'll talk about that a little bit at the end as well. So I want to go ahead and get on with the program. And I figured out how to get the PowerPoints on Yardstream here. So this is a program that I created about it's 7 or 8 years ago. It's called Shift Your Leadership, Life, and Your Legacy. And today we're only going to be talking about how to shift your leadership, how to change it. The word shifting, for me, shift it's an important word. There's only 2 reasons why you should shift when you're driving a truck. It's to go faster or to slow down, to get more power. And so that's my job. My job is to help you go faster, to get to where you want to go faster. And in order to do that, you have to shift. You have to shift your gears. You have to shift your direction. You have to change what you do. People hire me as a business coach not because I'm good, but because I'm a shortcut. I help them get there faster. I take what you already have and I pull the good stuff out of you. It's you that's good in a coaching scenario. And so my job is to help you shift. And today's talk is about shifting your leadership, your life, and your legacy. So I'm going to ask you a question. And the question is, what is leadership? What is leadership? If you're on Facebook, type a message in. I can see it. Type a message in. What is leadership? If you're on the phone lines, somebody tell me, what is leadership? What is your definition of leadership? I'll wait. Type it in or shout it out. Does anybody have a definition on leadership? All right, so I guess everybody's bashful. Uh, but when I ask this question in a live audience, on a stage, I get almost as many answers as there are people. There is no definitive term on what is leadership. I don't even know what is leadership. John Maxwell says leadership is influence, nothing more and nothing less. I don't know if I agree with that. I think leadership is another I word, not influence. Influence is like motivation. Influence is an outside force influencing or motivating. And we know that I can't always be there to motivate you. I can't always be there to influence you. I think leadership is inspiration. I think that would be a little better definition of what leaders do. They inspire people. I think that's a key thing. And so we'll talk about that a little bit later. But, leading by example, that's a big thing. I think, leaders direct, they guide, they mentor, they coach, they help. So I don't know what is the perfect definition for leadership, but I do know that there are several things that every leader does. There's three things that great leaders do. Number one, leaders inspire others. Okay, so we talked about that earlier, that leaders inspire others. They don't influence others. They do, but that's an outside force. You can't always be there to influence. But when a leader truly inspires the people that they lead, they really don't need motivation. Okay, so Zig used to say, motivation doesn't last, but neither does bathing. And that's why we need it every day. And so, influence is great, but I would much rather inspire you. I would much rather turn on that want to button that's already inside of you. And if you are inspired, you don't need motivation. Think about that. If you are inspired, you don't need motivation. So I would much rather have a group of inspired people than a group of influenced people. And so I came up with this quote several years ago. It says, to be famous is when a lot of different people know you. To be significant is to make a difference in a lot of people you know. So I don't want to be famous. I don't want to be an influencer. I want to be an inspiration to people. I want people to look at the words that come out of my mouth, the work that I do, the impact that I make. I want it to change you from the inside out, not in a spiritual way like the gospel does. I want that for you, but I can't do that. But I want to inspire you to change. I want to inspire you to shift. I want to inspire you to want to do something different in your life and to get a better result. So to be famous is when a lot of different people know you. I don't care about fame. I don't care about that. But I do care very much about, am I significant in the lives of the people that I meet? Am I making a difference? See, I promise you, if you think back of a person that you would call significant in your life, this person really, really spoke to you in a deep level at some point that caused you to behave and to change and become something different than what you are right now. So thank you guys for coming on board. Facebook, please share this. And thank you guys for on the phone as well. So that's the first thing that every great leader does. I don't know what the definition of leadership is necessarily, but I know they do three things, and they do three things very well. Number one, they inspire others. Number two is they create movements. They create movements. Leaders create, and they create something that others want to follow. My good friend Luke Kipfer says this all the time: are you a leader worth following? Leaders create a movement. So, how do you create a movement? You create a movement by doing something long enough to get the attention of somebody else, and that person joins you, and he starts doing that, and he believes in what you're doing, and you start attracting people to your cause, to your business, to your culture. So, a movement does not have to be huge. You can create a movement within your own business. You can create a movement. A movement is when other people want to join in on what you're doing. That's why a mission, a vision, and a purpose in your business is so important, because it allows them to attach themselves to it and say, I want to be a part of that. I want to be part of that movement. So let me ask you a question. What are you creating? What is your movement? What are you creating so that others will want to follow? If it's just a job, if it's just a paycheck, they can get that down the street that way or this way. Paychecks are everywhere. But are you creating something so compelling that they want to work for you? That they actually leave the company that they're working for because they want what you have, and they want to go where you're going, and they want to do it for the reasons that you're doing it for. Mission, vision, and purpose. That's why when you coach with us, that's the first thing we do, is we help you create a MVP, a mission, vision, and a purpose. And so leaders they create something that others really want to follow. So the question remains, what are you creating? What are you creating? And number three thing that a great leader does is they replace themselves. They replace themselves. As a leader, you are not that important. I'm sorry, I said it. You're not that important that you have to be in that position forever. Your job as a leader is to replace yourself, to bring people up. I don't want to stay. If let me say this, if you are at the same place if you're going to be where you are 5 years from now, shame on you. I don't care if you're the leader of the company. If you're the leader of a company, if you own the company and you're at the same place 5 years from now that you are right now, shame on you. You should replace yourself, because as the company grows, as you grow, you're going to go to a higher level, and you need people to fill in the gaps between you, and you just keep rising and you keep building that company. So your leadership is not complete until you create other leaders and you pass the baton to them and let go. Now, I'm not an athletic person, you can tell, but I did study relay races and how they're run and how they're won. And I found it interesting that when the gun goes off and the runner takes off going around the track with the baton, he has a teammate. That's why it's called a relay, because you're supposed to pass the baton on to the next runner. And as I'm going down around the track, I'm leading and I'm going around the track. You are waiting on me because I'm going to pass the baton to you, meaning you're going to run next. And I have a job as a runner, and you have a job as the next person. And that job as the next person is to get in sync with my leadership, get in sync with my running. And you will watch me as I go around the track, and you'll start hearing the pounding of the pavement. You'll see my feet go up and down, and you'll start clicking your tongue with the pounding of my feet on the pavement. That's what they actually do. And they track it all the way down. And as you come around and you're getting tired, you slow down, and you're clicking of the tongue in time with my running of my feet. That way, when I come behind you, you are already in rhythm, in sync with my leadership, and you can then time it to where you come in right behind me, and I'm able to reach back and I'm able to hand the baton back to you and let you finish the race. So a leader's job is like a relay race runner. You set the example, you plot the course, but you replace yourself and you teach them to watch you. You lead them. Your everything you do as a leader should be so that they can replace you. This is foreign to a lot of you when it comes to leadership, because we think that we have to be the guy at the top and we have to be there forever. If I don't lead, who else will? Well, if you have that kind of thinking, that's dumber than dumb. Because what if you get hit by a bus? What if you get, sick? What if something happens to you? Then who's going to lead? Right? So your job as a leader is to replace yourself, to nurture other leaders. Your leadership is not complete until you create other leaders in your company. Your company should be so full of leaders that if you would get hit by the bus, somebody else could step right up and your company would not miss a beat. Now, what I've seen a lot of this in working with companies. The leader actually raises up other people. They pass the baton back to them, but the leader doesn't let go. And when there is two people running really close to each other, and one has a hold of the baton and the other one has a hold of the baton, the chances of a crash, of getting their feet tangled up, getting too close, getting out of sync, is much greater at that point. The chances of a business failing is when you have two leaders with one baton. I have to tell you a story. When I became a master trainer with DISC, I had to become level 1 certified, 2, 3, and 4 was a speaker trainers boot camp. And then in order to become a master trainer in DISC, I had to teach 10 people with Dr. Rome himself in the room. That would be the equivalent to teaching Ephesians with Apostle Paul sitting in the church house. Okay. It was like, here's the man himself, the world's leading authority on DISC. Here he is watching and listening to me teach DISC. Okay. So I had to certify 10 people in level 1 with Dr. Rome in the room. I was nervous. I felt like I was doing good, but I felt like I had to be somebody that I'm not. I watched him for years. I watched him as he taught me and taught others, and I emulated him, and I kind of got in sync with him. And his wife actually told me that out of all the trainers that she's ever seen, I teach it the most like Dr. Rome does, which is a compliment. But I was still nervous with him in the room. And I remember, him looking up, taking notes, and on the break, he's come up to me and said, hey, next time try this, next time do that. See, leadership is hard. Leadership is not pleasant all the time. And so after about the second break, Dr. Rome came up to me and he says, hey, I've got a lot of work to do. Do you mind if I sit out next session and just be in the lobby and catch up on emails and stuff? And I'm like, oh yeah, man, that's more than fine. I was happy to see him leave the room. Okay. Now I work with a lot of companies that are in a transition between senior and junior, between father and son, changing leadership. And what I find is they verbally pass the baton, but they still have a hold of it. And I'm telling you, some of you need to leave the room. Some of you need to move to Florida for a year and start learning how to let go of the baton, because I could not be myself with Dr. Rome in the room. And he did a very, very wise thing. He showed what leadership was by moving out of the room and allowing me to have the baton 100%. And so your leadership is not complete until you create other leaders and you pass the baton to them. And then here's the real kicker, and you let go. Some of you need to let go. Some of you need to let go from the responsibilities that you've handed off to your employees. Some of you need to trust them a little bit more and say, you know what? It's okay if they make a mistake as long as they learn from it. So pass the baton, let it go, but make sure they're in sync with you. The reason we don't delegate, the reason we don't just hand off stuff is because we have a terrible system of training people, of getting them caught up to our rhythm and to our beating of the pavements. So, number one thing that great leaders do is they inspire other people. Let me ask you, are you an inspiration to the people that you lead? I don't care if it's your family. I don't care if it's your church. I don't care if it's your business. I don't care if it's your school, whatever organization that you're leading. I don't care if it's 1 or 1,000 people. Are you an inspiration to your people? When they see you do what you do they want to be more like you? Are they inspired to become a better version of themselves because of your actions? Number two, they will let's see, what is the number two? Wrong way here. Let's go back. Well, this thing seems like it doesn't have a back button. Hang on. There we go. So they create movements. Number one is they inspire others. They create movements, and they replace themselves. Okay. Oh, there's my slide moving button. I was confused on where it was. They keep changing stuff on this yard stream here, but got it now. All right. So those are the three things that great leaders do. And so don't worry about the perfect definition of leadership. Make sure that you are doing those three things: inspire, and you want to make sure that you're creating a movement, and that you are replacing yourself. You're building other people up, because as you raise them up, you're able to go higher in your leadership and take a much more of a broad approach. And so I want to look at, there are 5 actions of what I call a serving leader. Okay, now I talked a little bit about what is a serving leader earlier. A serving leader is not a person that is soft and gullible, or not strong-willed at all. And a serving leader does not allow the employees to run the company. A serving leader serves his people well. He serves them by making sure that they have what it takes to be successful. Serves them by making sure that they're being held accountable. All right. So we're going to look at the 5 actions of a serving leader. And I got this from a book from, what is his name? John Stallworth. The 5 Actions of a Serving Leader is the title of a book. And I've been teaching this over the years, and I love, love, love his material. John Stallworth, The 5 Actions of a Serving Leader. Number 1 is run to great purpose. Number 2 is raise the bar. Number 3, blaze the trail. Number 4, build on strengths. And number 5, I'm not going to tell you until the end, so you got to stay in, because the last one is the kicker. This is what turns everything around for leaders. So number 1, run to great purpose. And so what I did in this program, I created a virtual hiking team, and I've asked 4 people to go hiking with me. And I don't even like hiking unless it's like this. But this is what I created. It's a analogy of hiking. Okay. And I'm going to be your hike master. I'm going to be your leader, leading you on this hike. And so every great leader, number one, runs to great purpose. And what do we mean by running to great purpose or hiking to great purpose? Every great leader, every serving leader makes sure that you clearly define where you're going and why you're going and what is the purpose of what you're doing. They run to great leader. And so if you can see on the screen here, I'm pointing out where we're going. That's me. It's not actually me, but it's just a picture of me pointing and saying, that's where we're going. And so I called you up on the phone and I said, hey, employee, or hey, team leader, hey, whoever you are, we're going to go hiking and we're going to go there. And I paint a picture of what there is and why we're doing it. And I allow you to have time to see it and to grab a hold of the vision. And I say, are you ready? And we say, yes. And we start hiking. So number one, a great leader always points to purpose. This is what we're doing, and here's why. It's kind of like the book that Simon Sinek wrote, Start with Why. You have to understand why so you can figure out the how and the what. Okay? So run to great purpose. I think that is so key. Number two, action of a serving leader is to raise the bar. Raise the bar. Now, when I was in school, we would have like a field and track day, and they would have this bar that you were supposed to run and jump over. And every time you made a complete circle, they'd raise it up a little bit more. And the idea was to see how high you can jump. Okay, that's the whole idea of it. And I hated that game is because I wanted to win, but I wasn't athletic enough to beat my cousin Tony or Julian or some of the real athletic guys. They could jump much higher than I was, but they continually raised the bar, and I started resenting them raising the bar. And here's why. I started looking at raising the bar is not to expose your limitation, but it's to exhibit your potential. If I would have just had the frame of mind that I have now, like if Tony can do it, I can do it. If Julian can do it, I can do it. Right? So I was thinking raising the bar was to expose my limitations, to embarrass me in front of everybody. But it was there to actually show me that I can do it. Just one more jump, one more time. Raising the bar is not to expose your employees' limitations, but it's to exhibit your potential. Those of you that have been to any of my events, you know that a lot of times I start out with the raising of your hands as high as you can and holding it there, and then I ask you to do it just a little bit higher. And I just got done telling you to raise it as high as you can, and you do a measly sitting in the chair, raising your hands, and then I asked you to do it just a little bit higher, and you do it. And I do it the second, third, fourth, fifth time. And then I go to your mind. And in 5 minutes, we're already thinking about going to the moon and raising your hands. There's the point of this whole thing. You're not living to your full potential. Very, very few people are living to their full potential. And in order to shift your leadership, you have to start thinking at a higher level. You have to start thinking, what else can I do? And how much better can I do what I'm already doing? You are not living, working, and being at your full potential. I'm not. I try to, but there are times that I'm not. And so encourage each other around you. Encourage your people to live to their fullest potential. I promise you, if everyone on this call would live 100% to their utmost potential for the next 30 days in everything that they do, you would not recognize your company. You probably wouldn't recognize the country if every one of you lived to your fullest potential. That's amazing. And so you have to live to your full potential and don't resent the raising of the bar. So as we started hiking, I wish the guys on the phone line could see this. It's a man on a rock. He's conked out. He's laid out. He's done. Okay. And one of you got really tired on the hike, and you said, "I don't want to do this. This is too hard, and it's too much." And what I thought was a serving leader would go get him a pillow and say, "Here, just rest a while." But let me ask you a question. For those of you that can see the picture and those of you that can imagine the picture, it's a man on a big rock resting, just sprawled out. You can see he's just done. As a hike leader, as a leader in a company, do I serve you well by allowing you to stay in that position? Yes or no? No. The answer is no. Okay. And by the way, you guys on the phone line, you guys can talk to me. You're not muted, so go ahead and talk to me. So the answer is no. I do not serve you well by allowing you to stay in a position where there is nothing getting done. You're not improving your life at all. You might be resting, but it's not time to rest right now. And so the best reach down, the best way to help somebody that's down is to challenge them up. And so I'm going to say something like this. Hey, give me 10 more minutes of hiking. Get off that rock right now and give me 10 more minutes. And then we'll rest. See, I don't serve you well if I allow you. I don't serve the other three that are hiking with me on this analogy for them to sit there and watch you being broken and tired and done. It's not serving them well. So I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to raise the bar on you and say, I know you're tired. I know your legs hurt, but get up. Give me 10 more. I know you can do it. I believe in you. And so that's what raising the bar looks like in a company. A serving leader will always raise the bar. When they feel like quitting, they say, no, don't quit now. Give me 10 more. Give me 100 more. Give me whatever more, because I know you have it in you and I want you to discover who you are, because I already see it. I already see it. One of the things that I tell my clients all the time from day one is I can't wait to see who you become. Because I don't see you as you are today. I see you how you're going to be. And I can't wait for you to see it yourself. So the best reach down is to challenge up. The third action of a serving leader is to blaze the trail. And so the word blaze comes from a old word. Blaze means to take a knife and to carve out, to take the bark off of a tree as a marker on where to go next. And so as a person was going and he wanted to come back, or he wanted to lead a group of people that were coming on, a week or so later, he would take a knife and blaze the bark off of a tree. And he would do that every 10, 15, 20 feet. And he was blazing the trail. He was setting the example. He was making it easy for the people behind him or her to find the trail, to succeed, to get to where they wanted to go. So let me ask you, as a leader, how are you blazing the trail? How are you making it easy for the people that you're leading to win? Blaze the trail. So it looks kind of like this. If for the people on the phone call, it's a guy walking in tall weeds, and he's working hard, but he's pulling a blanket, and the blanket turns into a paved road, a really nice paved road behind him. I wish you could see this. But a leader, after raising the bar, after challenging them to do more than what they thought was ever possible, he then goes ahead, removes the obstacles, and makes it easier for them, because he doesn't want them to get discouraged with the hike. He wants them to know that, hey, this is doable. And so a great leader will always run to great purpose, raise the bar, they'll blaze the trail, and Here's a quote. Do not go where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail. Your job as a leader is to go where no one has gone before and make a path. Make it easy for the people. Be the shortcut for your people. Number 4, action of a serving leader is to build on strengths. As I was hiking with you over the past 4 or 5 days now, I am listening to the conversations. I'm listening to, and I'm seeing your strengths. I'm seeing your weaknesses. I'm getting to know you. And I start realizing that one of you is really good at building a fire. And I know that when we camp, we're going to need a fire. And so you talk about it a lot. You say, man, my dream is to be a professional fire starter, not an arsonist, but a campfire starter. And I'm sensing that you're passionate about building a fire. Another person is really good at building tents. Another person is really good at cooking. And so I'm listening. As a leader, I'm always in tune with the people that I'm leading, and I'm sensing and I'm looking for opportunities to let them shine. And I pick you as the fire starter, the person that is really good at making fire. And so I've discovered there's 3 ways that you can actually build on strengths. So number 1 is you got to name the strengths. So I say, hey, listen, I see that you're really good at making fire, and you're fantastic at it. I'd love to see you in action. I call it in you. I name the strength. Number 2, I apply the strengths. I actually put you in charge of making fire. You know, we're hiking, we're going to need a campfire. And so I put you in charge of it. And number 3, I actually teach you what I know about starting a fire. I'll send you to a seminar specifically for fire starting, because I know that that's your strength. And so a lot of times I see business owners that are putting people in their weak zone, hoping that will become a strength. Meanwhile, their strengths are being non-utilized. Forget that. Put people in their strength zone and let them shine within their strengths. And in order to know their strengths, you have to love them. You have to get to know them. You have to be able to read them. That's why I love DISC so much, because it helps you to understand their strengths and their weaknesses. So you have to name the strength, you have to apply the strength, and you have to train the strength. Those are the 3 things. And so as we go along in our hike, we set up for camp, and we need a fire started. And here's the quote: if I'm good at making fire, don't put me on the tent building team. If I'm good at making fire, don't put me on the tent building team, because here's what'll happen. If you're good at making fire, and I put you on the tent team, you're not going to be good at that. Plus, you're going to be looking at the guy that's good at building tents, and he's trying to build a fire. And you're going to have 2 frustrated people that are causing bad attitudes towards each other because you're not working in your strength zone. So always make sure that you know your people's strengths and your weaknesses, and you serve them well by allowing them to be in their strength zone most of the time. It doesn't mean that you never train and encourage growth in areas, but don't rob them of an opportunity to shine. Never rob your employees from an opportunity to excel and to be excited. This picture that I have on the screen is Tom Hanks from the movie Castaway, and it was the first time that he started a fire after he was, I think, a plane crash and living on an island for a long time. And the sheer joy of this man's face when he finally realized that he can make fire is amazing. And when your employees are put in a position where their strength can shine, you're going to have that kind of excitement in your business. You're going to have that kind of enthusiasm on your team. And so you have to make sure that you understand their strengths. Now, here's where we're getting to number 5. So I need all of you to draw a pyramid, just like it is on the screen. And for those of you on the phone, just draw a simple pyramid on a piece of paper. All right. Leadership is at the top of the pyramid. Managers are in the middle, and employees are on the bottom. That is the most common structure of any business out there. Leadership at the top, managers in the middle, employees are at the bottom. Okay. 98% of all companies are modeled in this fashion. All right. So, hey guys on the phone, if you're talking, I need you to mute yourself, please. If you're in a loud environment, please mute yourself. All right. So leaders in the top, managers in the middle, employees on the bottom. Now, here is a quote. Leadership and influence always rises, so position yourself accordingly. Leadership and influence always rises. All right. So if leadership rises, if you look on the screen, you can see that if leaders are at the top and influence and leadership rises, who is getting the benefit of the leadership? No one. Their leadership is going up into thin air, and it's not affecting anybody. And so what happens is, we want to inspire. We want to have a team that is fully inspired and everything, but we're positioned wrongly. And so when we don't get what we want, guess what happens? Force and dictatorship always goes down. And so we have to shift from being impactful and inspirational, because that's not working, to being forceful and more like a dictatorship, and say, do like I said, because I'm the boss and I'm the one that writes your paycheck. Do like I said. And here's what happens. Our managers get the brunt of what we think is leadership, but it's actually not. It's actually a positional leadership. Positional leadership means you do it because I said so and because I'm the boss. Relational leadership is I'm going to ask you and show you why it's important, and I'm going to give you the tools and empower you to do it to the maximum of your strength and ability. And so the problem with this model is leadership doesn't work in this model of business. And so point number 5 is you have to upend the pyramid. You have to turn it upside down. And turn the pyramid completely upside down. Leadership is now at the bottom, managers are in the middle, and employees are at the top. And your leadership is infiltrating the whole company as you are in a position of serving, to make sure that your managers have what it takes to get to the top, to make sure that your managers have what it takes to inspire and encourage the employees for them to get to the top. Right? And so that your employees has what it takes to really take care of your customers, so that the customers can then go out and give you referrals. And so the problem with a lot of companies today is that the managers are at the top and their leadership is not effective because it's not affecting anybody. It's because they have to resort to leadership and dictatorship. So if you need help with a company to learn how to turn that model upside down and position yourself as a leader in a much more of a accountable, you're holding your people accountable, you're clearly letting them know what you expect, but then giving them the tools, the training, the culture, the ability, the everything that they need to accomplish your mission, your vision, and purpose. And you're there simply to empower them and to encourage them and to train them and to help them. Then let me know. I'm your guy. I know how to turn a company around like that. And here's what I want you to understand. Toyota actually did this with their company. They turned leadership upside down and put their leaders in a position of, hey, what do you need to be successful, to their employees. Their leaders would ask their employees what they need to be successful. And even the US military, certain segments of the military is starting to use this model. Chick-fil-A uses this model that I just taught you, upending the pyramid and teaching their leaders how to replace themselves, how to empower others, and how to lift everybody that is on top of them even higher. And your company will grow and grow and grow when you start empowering your people. So again, the 5 actions of a serving leader are: run to great purpose, raise the bar, blaze the trail, build on strengths, and upend the pyramid. And then the last picture that you see on this slide is 4 people at the top of the mountain. Now, let me ask you a question. All of you that are on the call went on this hike with me today. Several of you wanted to give up, 3/4 of the way up, and you're just too tired. Aren't you glad that I challenged you to just give me 10 more minutes, to give me a little bit more? I re-encourage you. I reiterated the reason we're doing what we're doing, because look at this. We're the only people that have ever been to the top of this mountain, and you see things that you've never seen before. Let me ask you a question. The quote up there again is, to be famous is when a lot of different people know you, but to be significant is when you make a difference in a lot of people you know. Who is the first person that you're going to turn around and thank for this experience? Is it going to be your teammates? Or is it going to be your leader that challenged you, that pushed you, that believed in you, that saw the potential in you even when you didn't see it, and believed? He saw you at this peak way down at the bottom, and he encouraged you, he pushed you, he would not let you give up. Aren't you glad that as a leader, your leaders don't let you give up? Because you're the only person with this view right now. And so that is the program that I wanted to share with you here today. And that is what I call shifting your leadership. And again, if you want a free strategy call with me, all you have to do is call this number, 813-580-8920. And my office will get all the information. They'll set up the call. We can do it on a phone call. We can do it on a Zoom. Or you can just simply go to davekaufmanspeaks.com and you can schedule it right there. And the form will be there for you to fill out all the information about your business, because I really want to know as much as I can from this form so that I know how to help you and what your challenges are. So if you're interested in that, if you're interested in having me speak at your company, I do a lot of that. A lot of companies will do a customer appreciation days or dealer days, or, I work with companies that are in the service and manufacturing business with employees. And so if you're interested in bringing me to a conference and to your company to train DISC or to train leadership or train sales, let me know. And you can get a hold of me by going to davekaufmanspeaks.com or that same number, 813-580-8920. We'd love to hear from you, and we'd love your feedback on these calls here as well. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Facebook, YouTube, Zoom. We've got phone calls. I'm not even sure how many phone calls we have lined up. It's a ton of them. So thank you all for coming on. I really, really do appreciate it, and we'll talk to you next week. Thank you.